were brutally murdered in a place called Metembe Village, Masaba Sub-County, Kisii County. Their homes were torched in a retaliatory mob attack rooted on a long-standing land conflict between the two. Two other family members narrowly escaped death. Another family in Kisii County is also under threat. According to OB number 0513-2025 at Nyabasibi Police Station, Mr. Evans Obiero, his wife Kerubo, and 3 children have fled their home after receiving death threats from armed gangs over polygamy-related land dispute. In Siaya, Mr. Speaker, 9 family members were burned to death on an arson attack in Sigomere, Ugunja Sub-County on the 22nd of April, 2025 over a land dispute. These incidents highlight a growing national crisis of land-related killings. In the statement, the committee should address the following, Mr. Speaker. Number 1, the immediate and long-term security measures contemplated by the government to protect families under threat from land disputes across the country. Number 2, state the progress made in investigating and the prosecution of perpetrators involved in the recent killings in Kisii and Siaya counties and the reasons for the slow or inadequate response by local law enforcement in the affected areas despite these formal reports having been launched. Number 3, whether the government could consider forming a national task force or commission to address the root causes of these recurring events and now deadly land-related conflicts. Finally, Mr. Speaker, number 4, what policy interventions are going to be put in place by the government to facilitate more mediation and more conflict resolution, particularly on such events which are polygamy-related and linked because of inheritance disputes, particularly in the rural and densely populated counties of our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Shakila Abdallah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a request for statement on acquisition and utilization of land for the construction of the Lamu Port and access roads. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to the Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Lands, Environment and Natural Resources on a matter of county-wide concern regarding the acquisition and utilization of land for the construction of Lamu Port and its associated access roads. Mr. Speaker, sir, while the Lamu Port Southern Sudan Ethiopian Transport Lapset Corridor developed authority-initiated initially acquired 390 acres, 1.3 kilometers square, for the construction of the Lamu Port and compensated the project-affected persons for this parcel. Lapset now controls an expanded area of 2,840 hectares, a portion of which land is being used by the Kenyan Navy, where the residents are facing eviction despite unclear acquisition processes. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, the committee should address the following. Number 1, the procedure used by Lapset to acquire 28,140 hectares of land far exceeded the original approved 390 acres, including details on public participation, approvals, and compliance with land laws and constitutional provision on public and community land. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, whether the residents who occupied the 28,140 hectares have been compensated, including the respective amount paid, and if not, the timeline for such compensation, consideration that most of the evictees are farmers whose livelihoods was disrupted. Number 3, the circumstances under which the Kenyan Navy acquired land for the construction of a runway within the disputed area. And number 4, finally, Mr. Speaker, the measures put in place to stop unlawful evictions and the arrest of residents from the land where rightfully belongs to them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kavindu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to read a statement on the indefinite suspension of Machakos County Assembly of Machakos. Mr. Speaker, I arise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations regarding the indefinite suspension of plenary and committee operations of the County Assembly of Machakos. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Standing Orders 24 and 25 of the County Assembly of Machakos Standing Orders, the Assembly, by a resolution dated 25th February 2025, approved its official calendar. The calendar stipulated that plenary sittings were scheduled to take place from Tuesday 8th April 2025 to Wednesday 14th May 2025. However, on the 8th of April 2025, the Speaker of the County Assembly of Machakos issued a letter addressed to all honorable members and the general public, informing them of the suspension of House and all committee sittings. The reason cited by the Speaker was serious threats of our personal security, that of the members of the County Assembly and the staff, following disruptions of the sittings on the 8th of April 2025. The letter further indicated that sittings will not resume until such a time when the safety of the Speaker and members of the staff is assured. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1, under what legal and procedural framework did the Speaker and literally suspended assembly sittings, and when and whether due process was followed in so doing? 2, the input of this indefinite suspension of legislative business, including budgetary oversight and service delivery to the people of Machakos County. 3, measures in place to ensure the suspension of the normal assembly operations while safeguarding the safety of the Speaker, members, and staff. 4, whether the Speaker, members, and the staff of the County Assembly will be paid their salaries for the period the House and committee sittings will be under suspension. 5, the alternative dispute resolutions mechanism available to county governments, and in particular, the management of the county assembly, of the county assemblies in Kenya. 6, the actions taken by the county executive to resolve the issues of the county assembly, and if not, the plan in place to ensure the county assembly is operational. Senator Agnes Kavindu Mudhama, MP, Senator Machakos County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Statements pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B. The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56(1)B to make a statement on the activities of the Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing for the period commencing 1st January 2025 to 30th April 2025. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, the committee held 13 sittings, considered 75 statements, 1 legislative proposal, 1 petition, and 1 inquiry. During the period, a total of 75 statements that were before the committee were considered and concluded. The committee is currently considering 26 statements and will share responses with the respective senators who had sought them once are received from the government agencies and the county governments. In undertaking its mandate and to comprehensively address the work before it, the committee met with several governors, including the governor of Bungoma County, to seek clarifications on a statement sought by Senator David Wakoli, MP, regarding construction of a bypass from the junction of Sagalo to Kandui in Bungoma, and the governor of Nairobi County, the governor of Nairobi City County to deliberate on the inquiry into the urban regeneration and renewal programs of the county government of Nairobi. The committee further engaged the representatives of the various estates earmarked for urban regeneration and will table the report upon conclusion of the inquiry. The committee also held a meeting with the governor of Mombasa County as a follow-up on the status of implementation of the Senate resolutions regarding the allocation of houses to former tenants of Buxton Estate, and is scheduled to undertake a fact visit to Buxton Estate to ascertain the presentations made by the governor regarding how the developed houses have been allocated to the former tenants. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee considered the budget policy statement 2025 and held consultative meetings with the ministries, departments, and agencies under its mandate and made the various recommendations. This included, among other things, sharing of expected proceeds of the road levy fund for the financial year 2025-2026 to take into account transfer for county towards maintenance and rehabilitation of county roads to a total of Kenya shillings 13.9 billion as conditional allocations. The committee is currently considering a petition regarding the compensation for sugar cane crop damaged by the Department of Public Works, Roads, Energy and Transportation in Pap Oriang, Siaya County, and will table a report on the matter. Mr. Speaker, sir, in this period, as part of the parliamentary diplomacy, the committee undertook a visit to the East African community in Arusha, Tanzania, on a familiarization visit of the infrastructure projects and programs currently under implementation in Tanzania by the EAC. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee faced the following challenges which delayed conclusion of legislative business before it. 1, delayed response to statements, petitions, and inquiries from the government agencies, and rescheduling and postponement of committee meetings from external stakeholders invited by the committee to respond to various issues raised by the committee, especially the cabinet secretaries. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee is scheduled to undertake the following activities in the next quarter. 1, to invite governors for meetings to appraise the committee on the status of roads developed in the counties, and to undertake visits to the various affordable housing projects in the country. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and on behalf of the Chairperson, Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing, Senator Eddie Okech, MP. Thank you.
The Chairperson, County Public Investment Special Funds Committee.
Statement relating to the activities of the County Public Investments and Special Funds Committee made pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B for the period 1st January 2025 to 30th April 2025. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B to make a statement on the activities of the County Public Investments and Special Funds Committee for the period commencing 1st January 2025 to 30th April 2025. Honorable Speaker, during the period under review, the committee faced a challenge regarding the court ruling on the timelines under Article 229, but however, the committee in the circumstances held a total of 26 sittings within and outside the precincts of Parliament to consider the matters within its mandate. The meetings included regular meetings to consider Auditor General's report on municipalities, hospitals, and water companies for the financial year 2023-2024 within counties. Honorable Speaker, during the period under review, the committee has examined audit report for the following county entities. Kilifi County, the entities are Kilifi Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Malindi Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Kilifi Municipality, Malindi Municipality. Taita Taveta, the entities Tavevo Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Mwatate Municipality, Voi Municipality. Nandi County, the entities are Nandi Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Kapsabet County Referral Hospital, and Kapsabet Municipality. Wajir County, Wajir Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Wajir County Referral Hospital, and Wajir Municipality. Muranga County, Muranga Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Muranga South Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Kahuti Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Gatamathi Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Gatanga Community Water Scheme, and Muranga Municipality. Makueni, Makindu Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Mbooni Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Wote Water and Sanitation Company Limited, and Wote Municipality. Mr. Speaker, the list is long, but the counties, the additional counties are Lamu, Nyamira, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kwale, Kisii, Samburu, Busia, Tana River, Uasin Gishu, Kakamega, Trans Nzoia, Laikipia, Bomet, Homa Bay, and Vihiga County. During the interaction with the executives of the aforementioned counties, the committee observed numerous cross-cutting issues impacting on the operations of various entities. The findings are comprehensively detailed in the reports that have been tabled and adopted by the House on the 27th March 2025. Honorable Speaker, the committee tabled reports on 17 municipalities, 5 hospitals, and 16 water companies, which were adopted by the House on the 27th March 2025. This report outlined various recommendations that the committee has made aimed at addressing the identified challenges. The committee has further conducted an inspection visit to Kilifi County, Mombasa County, and Kwale County between 22nd of April to 24th of April 2025. Moving forward, we plan to undertake similar visits to all the other remaining counties with a focus on high-risk fiduciary investments facing hospitals, water companies, and municipalities with significant financial vulnerabilities. The committee has further held a stakeholders engagement retreat on the 25th and 26th of April in Mombasa, bringing together the Office of the Auditor General, Control of Budget, Ethics and Corruption Commission. The retreat was aimed at familiarizing the new members with the working relationship between the committee and these independent offices in executing its mandate. The committee has already sent out invitation to the various governors to appear before it, appointed to respond to audit reports raised by the Auditor General on the financial statements of the various investments within the respective counties. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for making a firm directive that the Committee of PAC and PIC should continue with their work despite the ruling that was issued by the court appearing to derail that process. We are continuing very well, and witnesses are appearing before us. I think governors are very keen to have political accountability, and I think it's a good thing, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. I submit the report.
Statement pursuant to Standing Order 57-1, the Senate Majority Leader. Before we go to the Senate Majority Leader, the Chairperson's Committee on Delegated Legislation. You could have raised it when Senator Osotsi was contributing. It certainly cannot be a point of order. No, I got busy after the statement was concluded.
In fact, the point of order is just one clarification, Mr. Speaker.
Absolutely. You may proceed if it's a clarification.
Yes. The clarification I seek from the chair, I have heard him congratulate you for allowing the two committees to function. And he's saying it based on the fact that there was a court ruling directed at the Senate in respect of the way we handle accounts. I wanted him to clarify, does he mean that we are defying a court order? Or what exactly do you mean? Because Senate cannot be seen to defy court orders.
Senator Boni, there is no court order that is being defied. Absolutely. The directive that was given is in line with the provisions of the Constitution and our standing orders. So it's not in breach or contradicting any court order. Chairperson, delegated legislation.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm here to read a statement relating to the activities of the committee on delegated legislation for the period between 1st January 2025 to 30th April 2025, pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, the Committee on Delegated Legislation held a total of 13 sittings, conducted post-publication scrutiny of 21 such instruments, and conducted pre-publication scrutiny of 3 draft instruments. The committee also visited 4 counties and held 1 parliamentary diplomacy engagement. On post-publication scrutiny of such instruments, during the period under review, the committee considered a total of 21 such instruments and ascended to a total of 14 such instruments as listed below. 1. The Pest Control Products, Import and Export Regulations Legal Notice number 190 of 2024. The Pest Control Products and Disposal Regulations Legal Notice number 191 of 2024. 3. The Pest Control Products Fees and Other Charges Regulations Legal Notice number 192 of 2024. 4, the Pest Control Products Inspection and Certification Regulations, legal notice number 193 of 2024. Number 5, the Pest Control Products Labeling, Advertisements and Packaging Regulations, legal notice number 194 of 2024. And then we also have the Digital Health Information Management Procedures, Regulations number 76 of 2025. We have the Digital Health and Data Exchange Component, Regulations legal notice number 77 of 2025. We have Collegium on the Environment Management and Coordination Air Quality Amendment Regulations legal notice number 66 of 2025. Collegium on the Environment Management and Coordination Sand Harvesting Amendment Regulations legal notice number 65 of 2025. Collegium on the Environmental Management and Coordination Water Quality Amendment Regulations number 63 of 2025. Collegium on the Environmental Management and Coordination Waste Management and Amendment Regulations legal notice number 64 of 2025. The Water Service Regulations legal notice number 54 of 2025. The Water Harvesting and Storage Regulations legal notice number 57 of 2025. And then we have the Water Resource Regulations legal notice number 58 of 2025. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee is in the process of completing its consideration of 7 such instruments, including the following: the Civil Aviation Aircraft Accident and Incident Investigations Regulations, legal notice number 5 of 2024, the Social Health Insurance Amendment Regulations, legal notice number 147 of 2024, the Social Health Insurance Act Tariffs for Health Services, legal notice number 146 of 2024, the Environmental Management and Coordination Controlled Substances, legal notice number, regulations, legal notice number 53 of 2025, the Environmental Management and Coordination Access to Biological Resources and Benefit Sharing Regulations, legal notice number 68 of 2025, the Environmental Management and Coordination Deposit Bonds Regulations, legal notice number 67 of 2025, and the Environmental Management and Coordination Strategic Integrated Environmental Assessments and Environmental Audits, number 2, legal notice number 71 of 2025. On pre-publication and scrutiny of such instruments, Honorable Speaker, with respect to pre-publication and scrutiny of such instruments, the committee considered a total of 3 draft statutory instruments, including the National Construction Authority Amendments Regulation number 2024, the Digital Health Information Management Procedures, legal notice number 2025, the Digital Health Data Exchange Component Regulations of 2025. The committee recommended the publication of the 2 digital health regulations by the Ministry of Health. With regard to the National Construction Authority Amendments Regulations 2024, the committee resolved that the Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development revokes the National Construction Authority Regulation 2014 and develops a new regulation as opposed to amendments to 2024 regulations, which by operation of the provision of the such instruments, Act Cap 2A were automatically revoked on the 30th June 2024. On the county visits, Honorable Speaker, the committee conducted county oversight networking and engagement visits in Kwale, Mombasa, Kilifi, and Tana River counties between 27th April and 2025 and 3rd May 2025. The committee met with the governors to establish the subsidiary institutions developed and substituted to the county assemblies, as well as publication and public participation processes in the development of statutory instruments. The committee also met with the counterpart committees of the county assemblies to share experiences in the execution of their respective mandates. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, the committee undertook a learning visit to the East African Legislative Assembly, that is IARA, and Eastern and Southern Africa Management Institute, ESAMI, in Arusha, Tanzania, in March 2025. These visits were undertaken in an effort to enhance regional integration of the East African community. I thank you, sir. This is Senator Mwenda Kataya Mofaya, MP, Chairperson, Committee on Delegation and Legislation. Thank you.
The Senate Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, sir, this is the statement for the Senate Majority Leader on whose behalf I read on the business of the Senate for the week commencing today, Tuesday, 20th May 2025, pursuant to Standing Order number 57-1. Mr. Speaker, the status of the business pending before the Senate includes 54 bills, 42 which are at second reading, 12 at Committee of the Whole, 23 motions pending conclusion, 28 petitions pending conclusion, out of which 19 are due for reporting by the respective standing committees. 474 statements pursuant to Standing Order number 53-1 are under consideration by respective standing committees. Mr. Speaker, on Tuesday, May 20th, the Senate Business Committee will meet to consider the business for the week. The tentative business for that day will include business not concluded from today's order paper, as well as business indicated on the notice paper. Of note is the consideration of the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025 at the second stage reading. The tentative business for the morning sitting on Wednesday, 21st May 2025 will include the scheduled questions to Cabinet Secretaries as approved by the Senate Business Committee, as well as motions. The questions scheduled include question 34 to the National Treasury by Senator Enoch Wambua, CBS MP, question 35 to the National Treasury by Senator James Murango MP, question 48 to the National Treasury by Senator Professor Thomas Ojienda, Senior Counsel MP, question 79 to the National Treasury by Senator Karen Nyamu MP, question number 50 to the Ministry of Gender, Culture and Arts Heritage by Senator Catherine Muma, question 76 to the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Gender, Arts and Heritage by Professor Tom Ojienda, Senior Counsel MP, and finally question 66 to the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife by Senator Joyce Korir, CBS MP. The tentative business for the afternoon sitting on 21st of May, Wednesday, 2025, will include business not concluded in the Tuesday's morning order paper and the following. 1, in respect of bills at the second reading will be the County Government's Bill, Amendment, Procedure Bill, the County Government's Bill number 39, the Labor Migration Management Bill, the Street Naming and Property Addressing System Bill, and B, bills at the Committee of the Whole, the Cooperative Societies Bill, the Public Fundraisings Bill, the Heritage and Museums Bill, the Environment Laws Amendment Bill, the County Library Services Bill, and the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill. And C, there are motions which include report of the Standing Committee on Division and Intergovernmental Relations on its inquiries into the state of markets in Vihiga and Bungoma counties, arising from a statement that was sought by Senator Godfrey Osotsi MP and Senator David Wakoli MP. And 2, the motion on the progress of report of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration into an inquiry on the diversity and inclusivity in the staff composition of state agencies in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, the projected business for 22nd May 2025, Thursday, will include business not concluded from the Wednesday's afternoon paper, debate on the motion on the fourth basis for allocating the share of national revenue amongst our 47 counties, and any other business that will be scheduled by the Senate Business Committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you and hereby do lay the said statement on the table.
Senator Hamida Kibwana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My statement is regarding rising cases of unwanted pregnancies due to ineffective contraceptive methods. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 52.1 to make a statement on a matter of national concern regarding the rising incident of unintended pregnancies and abortion-related complications, largely attributed to ineffective contraceptive methods and gaps in reproductive health care services. A recent study titled in Incidence of Induced Abortion and Related Complications in Kenya, conducted by the Africa Population and Health Research Center, APHRC, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and international partners, reveals that Kenya recorded over 1.4 million unintended pregnancies in 2023. Alarming 35% of women who used emergency contraceptive pills still conceived, raising serious concerns about the efficiency, availability, and appropriate use of contraceptive options within our health system. Mr. Speaker, sir, the study, which covered Nairobi, Kisumu, Mombasa, and Nakuru counties, paints a grim picture of unmet needs and stigma in reproductive health. It recorded 793,664 abortions in 2023, representing a rate of 57.3 per 1,000 women aged 15 to 49 years. The highest abortion rates were reported in Nairobi and central Kenya at 78.3 per 1,000 women, followed by Nyanza at 69.4 per 1,000 women, and Western at 55.6 per 1,000 women, while Coast and Northeastern regions reported the lowest rates at 38.7 per 1,000 women. Mr. Speaker, sir, social stigma continues to surround contraception, especially for young women who are often branded immoral despite being sexually active and in need to protection. The study found that 58% of the women interviewed were married, and among these, 32% had 2 or more children. This disproves the myth that contraception is only sought by. This disapproves. The myth that contraceptives is only sought by unmarried or promiscuous individuals. In reality, it is a fundamental health and family planning necessity. The study also exposed serious gaps in post-abortion care. Only 24% of referral facilities and 21% of lower-level facilities were equipped to provide even basic post-abortion services, leaving thousands of women vulnerable to complications and long-term health risks. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the light of these findings, I urge the Standing Committee on Health, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, to consider initiating an inquiry with a view of addressing the following. Number 1, the distribution, quality, and effectiveness of contraceptive methods available in public health facilities across the country. Number 2, access to reliable and long-acting contraceptive options, particularly in underserved and high-risk regions. Number 3, public education programs to combat stigma and promote informed reproductive health choices among youth and families. Finally, the availability of comprehensive post-abortion care in public health facilities, including staff training and improved supply chains for critical services. Protecting the reproductive rights and health of women and girls is not optional. It is national imperative. We must act urgently to address this crisis and strengthen our reproductive health care systems. Address this crisis and strengthen our reproductive health care systems. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Before we move to comments on these statements, I'll call upon the chairperson, Agriculture, to lay a paper on the table.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, 15th May 2025. The report of the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock, and Fisheries on the consideration of National Assembly amendment to the COVID Bill 2023, Senate Bills number 10 of 2023.
Now we'll move to comments. The Honorable Senator Richard Onyonka. Senator Essie Okenyuri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to support the statement by Senator Richard Onyonka on land issues in Kisii. Mr. Speaker, land issues in Kisii and Nyamira, that's Gusii region, is not a new phenomenon, and most of these issues are actually emanating from cultural issues. Mr. Speaker, even when such cases actually drag all the way to court, some have taken 10 to 15 years. Reason being, generally the society, most members have strong attachment with the land that has been acquired from their grandparents, great-grandparents, and as a result, most are not willing to participate in succession of land, Mr. Speaker. So I feel the ministry needs to work closely, especially with the land registrars, to conduct civic education on why succession needs to be done earlier, so that we don't have cases which are dragging in court, Mr. Speaker, and in some instances, we see people who are putting injunctions in court to even bar dead bodies from being buried, Mr. Speaker. And largely this is affecting women because women are being married to those families. Some are not able to accept that they're already part of those family institutions, Mr. Speaker. So this statement by Senator Onyonka is very timely, and it calls for the ministry, the land ministry, to take this issue seriously so that we sensitize our people on why succession processes need to begin earlier, on why they need to report some of these challenges before they get out of hand, Mr. Speaker. I support that statement. Thank you.
Senator Beatrice Akinyi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to support the statement by Senator Shakila Abdallah. This is a statement on the acquisition and utilization of land for the construction of the LAPSET project, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the issue of compensation has been a nagging problem, especially with government agencies, Honorable Speaker. The question we keep on asking ourselves, Mr. Speaker, sir, is why does the government put in a request or a need for land and then fail to put a budget for the same compensation of land, Honorable Speaker? This is a process that really disadvantages the landowners, Honorable Speaker, because they are given notices to leave. The projects are initiated, Honorable Speaker. The projects sometimes get completed even before members of the public are compensated, Honorable Speaker. The most outstanding issue in this case, Honorable Speaker, is that a requirement, an initial acquisition was made of 390 acres, Honorable Speaker, but they ended up using 28,000 HA of land, Honorable Speaker. So how do we then, how do they then make use of land that they have not even been paid for? Honorable Speaker, it is on this same floor that I've indicated in the past that there are even a number of markets in this country. One of them is in my county called Kodumba Market, Honorable Speaker. That is a market still on leasehold, on freehold, Honorable Speaker. The members, the owners of this land were never compensated, but the government and the county government, my county government, even collects cess from that land, Honorable Speaker. To me, this is an injustice to the people of Kenya, and particularly, Honorable Speaker, this LAPSET project, Honorable Speaker, there's been use of so much money. Why they use this land of these people and they never compensated, Honorable Speaker, is unfair. So I support that the land owners must be compensated, not only for the land, but for even the property that was on that land. Honorable Speaker, I support.
Senator Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support or to comment on the statement raised by Senator Agnes Mudhama about suspension of the sittings of the County Assembly of Machakos. And Mr. Speaker, this concerns me because yesterday we were dealing again with the case of Nyamira County where we have two parallel assemblies sitting. And Mr. Speaker, we must rein in these county assemblies and the county governments that, Mr. Speaker, are not observing the rules as per the Constitution. But Mr. Speaker, if you may, there is a statement yesterday that was raised by Senator Omtata of Busia County related to an procedural withdrawal of about 19 billion Kenya shillings from the consolidated fund. And Mr. Speaker, I feel that we need to comment about this because the procedures, and Senator Omtata placed...
Senator Newton,
yes.
That's not one of the statements in the order paper today.
I beg your indulgence, Mr. Speaker,
if
because...
you have nothing to say on the statement, so kindly yield.
Okay. So, do I have your permission to continue with...
Not on the statements that are not in today's order paper.
Okay. So then, Mr. Speaker, I beg then to sit down, but you remember I had requested yesterday that we needed to talk about this because, Mr. Speaker, 19 billion is not pocket change.
Honorable Newton.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
You may proceed on the statements that have been sought today.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, nimesikiza ground. Thank you.
Senator Beth Siengu. Senator Fernandez.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. From the onset, I want to support the statement by the Kisii Senator. Mr. Speaker, we need to open inquiry into this issue of land dispute. Mr. Speaker, you remember almost 6 people were killed in Angata Baragoi in Narok County. Up to today, Mr. Speaker, it's so sad that those people have been buried and forgotten. No one has been arrested. Even the police officers that turned rogue, Mr. Speaker, has never been arrested today. So this issue of dispute of land and killings, Mr. Speaker, I request through the Committee of Joint, you should, Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, understanding order number 1, direct the Committee of Lands and National Security to handle this matter, Mr. Speaker. We have so many people who are crying in Angata Baragoi, Mr. Speaker. They have been evicted, Mr. Speaker. Apart from infrastructural evictees, Mr. Speaker, this issue of people being killed, whether it is cultural or it is criminal, to me, Mr. Speaker, these are criminal elements, Mr. Speaker. Even as the souls of 6 Kenyans who died to Angata Baragoi, Mr. Speaker, and many victims who were injured, Mr. Speaker, it is so sad that today as a House, Mr. Speaker, there is no even progress report on the investigations of many Kenyans who were killed in Angata Baragoi over land dispute, Mr. Speaker, and I hope this matter will be handled. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, and I want to challenge National Land Commission because I know the region where you come from, the coast. We were discussing even about the absentee landlords, Mr. Speaker. This has led to many disputes in Coast Province where you hail from, Mr. Speaker, and I think it is of even interest to yourself and other leaders from this region and even from Rift Valley, Mr. Speaker, that we form a joint committee of National Land Commission and National Security. Mr. Speaker, secondly and finally, is I have read the statement by the committee. Mr. Speaker, you need to give direction. There was a petition on compensation of residents affected by construction of Kamosor Nyaro Road. It was tabled on 17 July 2024. Mr. Speaker, it has violated the 60 days rule. Mr. Speaker, you need to be firm and direct committees that they must prosecute prosecutions as per standing orders. If we cannot follow our own law, Mr. Speaker, what will become of? Even on this issue of Nairobi Expressway, Mr. Speaker, My statement has been there from 2024 April, Mr. Speaker. And we have been even told that expressway is being closed for the next 3 days. Even no one knows what Moja Expressway is collecting in Nairobi Expressway, Mr. Speaker. Even whenever it rains in this city, the expressway normally floods, Mr. Speaker. Yet the Committee of Roads has not even found it wise. I don't know whether they need money from your office approval. Yet the expressway, we can just walk across here and assess, Mr. Speaker, that expressway, no one knows how much we are collecting as a country, who runs it, Mr. Speaker, and why is it that when it rains, it's only expressway that floods, of course, apart from Jogo Road and many other areas, Mr. Speaker, because, of course, the Nairobi City County is being run like Iraq, Mr. Speaker. Finally, Mr. Speaker, on the status of roads in Nandi, on the same I did raise, that was in May 15, 2024, no one. Mr. Speaker, and you know Nandi County is one of the agricultural counties that we have in this country. Mr. Speaker, it's sad that we have tea, we have coffee, we have milk, we have vegetables, we have fruits, Mr. Speaker, but we cannot access our markets, Mr. Speaker. Our milk is getting spoiled because the poor, pathetic roads, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you need to call to order these committees. And I can see the senator, the chairperson of roads, Mr. Speaker, the chairperson, through you, Mr. Speaker, the chairperson of roads, Senator Edio Kech Kisheru, is smiling to the Speaker who threw him outside yesterday, Mr. Speaker. Yet I'm raising valid questions that he should be listening, Mr. Speaker, so that you don't need to give directions, Mr. Speaker. That we are complaining that the Roads Committee is taking ransom of our statements, Mr. Speaker, without giving it in time, including petitions, Mr. Speaker. You need to go hard and hot and big against committees that do not respond to the statement in time, Mr. Speaker. I invite your understanding on the number one with your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, with all tremendous respect to your office. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The matter will be discussed comprehensively at the Senate Business Committee. Senator Mutinda.
Mr. Speaker, allow me to briefly comment on the statement by Senator Hamida Kibwana on the issues of contraceptive methods. And she's requested, on adequate quality supply across the country, across all the public facilities, as far as the issues of contraceptive methods are concerned, because of the increased rate of induced post-abortion that are in this country. The data is clear. She has been able to stipulate the data. Nairobi is leading so much, with close to almost 70% of these particular abortions, Mr. Speaker. And it's a high time, and I believe this statement will come to our committee. We will deal with it, Senator Hamida, to ensure that the right measures and procedures are put in place. Mr. Speaker, allow me to also make my contribution on the indefinite suspension of the County Assembly of Machakos County, statement by Senator Kavindu, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is a shame and it is very sad today that county assemblies can close. You know, Mr. Speaker, after 2022 elections, we were so proud to have what we call Machakos girls and also to have what we call Nakuru girls. But because the matter is for Machakos girls, let me narrow it to that. Mr. Speaker, we were so proud to have a woman governor, a woman senator, of course a woman rep, and a woman speaker. And at the as we speak right now, with that beautiful leadership the way it has been, of course, now it has now turned into difficult political issues, to a point that the speaker has to direct that the county closes or adjourns indefinitely, citing threats to her life and to the life of the other members of the county assembly, definitely the ones who are opposing to her impeachment. I would want to ask the leadership of Machakos County. This is a shame to women leadership. It is a high time that they should be able to sit down, resolve their political differences, and offer the services to the people of Machakos, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, where I sit as the Vice Chair of Finance and Budget, as we speak, we've suggested 465 billion through the BPS. And this money is definitely, for Machakos County, I guess they are taking about 9.5 billion. So definitely they will be getting more money. If the people of if the County Assembly of Machakos County cannot pass their budgets, how are they going to ensure that they're going to offer services to the people of Machakos County who elected them and ensured they're in those offices? They are still earning salaries, and they have adjourned their sessions, and they had a calendar which was well stipulated that was to go up to the 14th of May, Mr. Speaker. It is wrong. It is wrong whereby the Mwananchi suffers because of political issues. Those women, those leaders who are women, the governor, the women rep, the senator, the speaker of that particular county assembly should show leadership, come together, and resolve the political issues that are in that place. And I don't see why she should be impeached, Mr. Speaker, because now look at where these issues have gone to. With those few and many, Mr. Speaker, I submit.
Senator Boni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the chance. I would like to reflect on the statement by Senator Hamida on the use of contraceptives and how it is related to unintended pregnancies and abortions. This is a very important matter because it's right at the heart of the productive age of our women. And without reproductive women, there can be no country called Kenya 10 to 20 years from now. Mr. Speaker, I therefore would like to appeal to the senator to consider using her resources and office so that access to contraceptives is not misused and abused and misunderstood. Contraception by way of the modern methods is something which is foreign to us. And the owners of those methods had an original intention of controlling the populations of the Black Africa. And therefore, we must, as we allow our women access to this contraceptive, accompany it with adequate education. I firmly believe that a woman who should take contraceptive should have a minimum of 3 children to start with. And number 2, that the traditional methods running from cultural rights to family care should be able to help girls not get the so-called unintended pregnancies. Finally, on this very important issue, the issue of post-abortion care. Mr. Speaker, 18 counties today, as we speak this afternoon, Kakamega being one of them, Machakos, another one, 18 of them, doctors are on strike. And these children get this abortion every day. And there is the post-abortal care is always an emergency, life-threatening, and can only be handled surgically by a competent doctor. So the fact that there are no doctors, it means that young women are dying in Machakos, dying in Kakamega, dying in the other hospitals of those 18 counties. The Senate must move with speed to ensure that these doctors are back into the hospitals by putting pressure on governors who prefer to spend money on living large. Mr. Speaker, can you imagine the governor of Kakamega doesn't want to pay doctors, and the other day he bought for himself an armored car, Lexus, 54 million shillings. Mr. Speaker, not that he cannot drive that kind of vehicle, but who would want to kill him? I want to assure the governor of Kakamega his life is not under threat. He's wasting our money. Let him use those millions to pay our doctors. We are waiting for him. He's being very unkind. We cannot allow governors to spend money on luxury instead of paying our doctors. I was looking, Mr. Speaker, at the proposed budget estimates, and the government wants to ask us to allow only a paltry 1.7 billion shillings for the doctors who keep on walking around the streets here. That money is not enough to get those doctors back, to address their salaries in arrears, to address their needs for promotion, Mr. Speaker. We require 4 billion. 4 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker, is not too much that we can allow our patients to be dying like animals. Mr. Speaker, that is why the Senate was created. We insist that governors must be called to order. I thank you.
Senator Eisenhower.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I rise to contribute to the statement by Senator Shakila on the LAPSSET issue in Lamu County. Mr. Speaker, it is very important to note that taking land away from our citizens without any form of compensation or relocation directly disenfranchises these citizens and therefore denying them their dignity. We have a similar issue of the Yamo Dam, which I've spoken about on several occasions in this house, which is actually in my village where I come from. And after the construction of the dam, the compensation has been a headache up until now. And even worse, the piping of this water went through several farms, including those of my neighbors. And upon telling them that there was no compensation, there are already huge piping holes that were done in these farms that would cause soil degradation, that affected the environment of those farms, and most of them were farming areas. During this rainy season, we ended up not having our neighbors farm or plant any crop because of the effect of the holes that were dug around their farms. And it's so sad that the government itself does not understand that where their freedoms end, the rights of the citizens begin. And Mr. Speaker, our mandate as legislators is to protect and represent the citizens that elected us to these houses. I think, in my opinion, because when it comes to rural electrification, the LAPSSET, the construction of roads, dams, and other social amenities, we have the Committee of Land sitting in Nairobi in a committee room discussing these issues. We have a lot of issues that are revolving around land of the citizens being taken away in the guise that whatever is happening in that land is going to benefit the citizens. We know that, but we also know that when you take away land belonging to somebody, that is directly lowering somebody's dignity and making them squatters, because we are living at a time where there is barely any idle piece of land. And so I would urge that the Committee of Lands should be on their toes, moving from county to county, addressing these issues, including the Olchorai matter, which I've been talking about in this house. And we had a committee sitting on the same issue today. We need this committee to go down there to the grassroots and get the views of the citizens and know where the shoe is pinching so that they can come back and tell people that indeed this is how this matter should be approached. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Seki.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me also take this opportunity to thank and even to agree on the statement sought by Senator Agnes Kavindu from Machakos County. I want to agree on the issues that has been raised in this statement, that we really need to think about what is happening in our counties, especially county assemblies, exactly at this time, Honorable Speaker, where we have county assemblies approving budgets of county executive and the entire county. This is a big threat to the county governments. And this statement has come at the right time where we want to seek the indulgence of the Committee of Devolution to look at these issues critically, because maybe there could be some issues of legislative gaps And these are the things that bringing up the county governments and the county assemblies to bring all these rankles between themselves. And I really wonder, Honorable Speaker, because we had the same problem yesterday, where we had a motion on the issue of Nyamira County, on the same issues that are coming up in our county assemblies. And these are things that we cannot even understand, because there are also laws and there are systems and agencies of government that need to protect devolution. Honorable Speaker, this statement has come at the right time when we have also issues in our county assemblies and even in the Senate itself, where we have issues that is threatening devolution, Honorable Speaker. We remember very well that the functions of county assembly, function of the county governments is being threatened. And this is devolution that is being threatened. We really need to look at it more than how we are looking at it today, or even how we are handling as a Senate. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, we have a lot of issues that needs to be looked at, because county devolution is being threatened, even by national government, Honorable Speaker, whereby we have issues on roads, we have issues on health, we have issues on education. So many problems that are coming up, which are functions that has been devolved. Honorable Speaker, this Senate, this House, need really to look at it critically on issues that has been affecting devolution, and these are the issues that are rising from the county assemblies, the executive, from the county governments, and even from this House itself. So I think it is a matter of the concern to this House that we look at it critically. Otherwise, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to speak to the issue, to the statement by Senator Hamida on the matter of unwanted pregnancies due to ineffective contraception. Honorable Speaker, I have previously spoken on the issue of adolescent health in this country. I have indicated that as a country, the greatest problem we have is the neglect of adolescent girls and boys in this country. Honorable Speaker, the 1.4 million unintended pregnancies is just a result of the negligence that we have. Mr. Speaker, I have previously given the statistics around the teen pregnancies in this country. And as at now, between 2016 and now, we have had nearly 1.6 million teen pregnancies in this country. That is young girls who are defiled or who engaged in sexual activity and got pregnant. But now this is the record of the ones who got pregnant and attempted to get rid of those pregnancies. Mr. Speaker, I wish we would look at this issue not in a siloed manner, but as a matter of killing our future. Mr. Speaker, even as we look at the issue of abortion, I don't think the solution here is providing family planning. The issue here is what programs are we putting in place to safeguard the livelihoods of our children. Mr. Speaker, of those who are pregnant, I'd like to tell you we have 150, among them aged 10 and 14 years. Those are going to be mothers. And yet in the Ministry of Education, we have no program on sex education. Mr. Speaker, this information and more information that keeps coming around pregnancies, abortions, is a call to us to stop we're continuing with the policy of no sex education in schools. Mr. Speaker, we need to have sex education in schools. We need our girls and boys to be told the consequences of casual sex. We need our girls and boys to be told we have offenses like defilement. That somebody having sex under the age of 18 is actually criminal in this country. Mr. Speaker, I have taken an interest in the justice sector to find out whether we have 1 million prosecutions of the girls who have been defiled, because those are the pregnancies that we have. Mr. Speaker, we don't even have 100. What does that show? That even our own law about protecting children, we are not interested in implementing. So for this girl who is 14 and is pregnant, she has just been told, give birth and go back to school, or go back to school with your child. Mr. Speaker, this is the biggest problem that we have. If you look at the HIV statistics, the highest transmission rates now are among 14 and 19-year-olds, the same cohort. But we are moving on. We think the biggest problem here is anything else. In my view, the biggest problem in Kenya is the neglect of the adolescent girls and boys. And this is only showing what is happening. How did we end up with 1.4 abortions? Mr. Speaker, is also because our health system is not designed to receive adolescents on their own and take care of them. So what happens? We have, particularly in Nairobi, we have a parallel illegal health system on the streets where girls are getting fake family planning, fake P2 pills, and many of them are actually going to be hurt, and they are going to have infertility problems. Who is peddling this? We have enough fake doctors within our systems purporting to manage adolescents because our health systems are not friendly to adolescent services. Because we have not agreed that within our schools we could have counselors and people who can speak to children about sex education. Because we think within our churches, if we speak to our girls, we are trying to train them the wrong thing. No, what we are doing, we are killing our future. And it's not just the girls. Mr. Speaker, the boys don't get pregnant, but many of them are also being defiled. They are not speaking because our culture has tabooed discussing matter sex. Because it has tabooed, go and find out, and I would like us to just do it even for fun. Go and find out from your nephews, and you'll find out what is happening out there is bad. Mr. Speaker, the biggest crisis as far as I'm concerned is that Kenya has dropped the ball when it comes to the care of its adolescents. And these results will keep coming here one by one. We talk about how many pregnancies. We talk about how many have not gone back to school. We'll talk about how many have procured abortions. And we are not even being told how many died while trying to procure abortion. Mr. Speaker, this is a serious issue. And I'm hoping that this Senate, which I'm calling a courageous Senate, can one of these days have the courage to be able to face religious leaders, top government officials, to tell them adolescents are the future of this nation, and we must put in place the policies that take care of them. GBV is all over. GBV is all over for both boys and girls. But that is not a big deal. We are not discussing it. So I'm calling all of us on order to seriously start looking at your own statistics. Senator Faki, Senator Halware, Senator Majority Leader, please come back next time and tell us how many girls in Kakamega County who are under 18 got pregnant last year. Can you come and tell us, each of you? Senator Majority, I was talking about, please next time tell us how many teen pregnancies did we have in Kericho? How many of these abortions happened in Kericho? I want us to start personalizing it. Then we will see how serious it is. I also want you to go and ask the Minister for Education, how many of the kids who got pregnant are back in school? Last year I went to Bungoma County, Senator Wafula is not here. In 2023 alone, we had 5,000 teen pregnancies in Bungoma. That is how many schools? If you are talking of a school that has 1,200 learners, those are about 4 schools full of pregnant people. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank Senator Hamida for bringing this issue, but it is a big issue that I think we need to start looking at holistically, and we need to ask the committees on health and committees on education to look at it from the lens of adolescents, to look at it from the lens of both boys and girls, to look at it beyond pregnancies and abortions, to look at it as an issue of violence against adolescents. And if we do so, we will realize that we need to do something about it. And Mr. Speaker, I will be going to the task force, to the Nancy Baraza task force. I am glad it's being headed by internal security. And Senator C.S. Murkomen is, I know, is in charge of security. We would want matters of the safety of girls and boys in this country to be treated as an issue of internal security. And that policy should extend and put a budget line and a policy in place to ensure that the safety and security of our girls and boys is taken care of. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make some comments on, particularly on the statement, I believe, by Senator Hamida Kibwana on the issue of pregnancy in school, or unwanted pregnancies in school. Mr. Speaker, I think all of us here are missing the point. You know, we can stand here and lament and make all beautiful statements and condemn certain individuals, but we are not going to the root cause of the problem. The statement presented by Senator Hamida has given statistics, and they have said that Nairobi County is leading in unwanted pregnancy by 78%. And they said Nyanza province is 69.4%. They also talked about Central Province, 78.3%. Mr. Speaker, the most important thing for us to ask ourselves is, what is sort of like similar in all these counties? The rate of poverty in these counties is very high. Because when you ask yourself, who are these young girls who are getting pregnant in Nairobi? It is the informal sector. It is in public schools. If you go to private schools where the rich take their children, where we take our children, the rate of pregnancy there is quite low. Because those kids are educated, those kids are given activities to be able to take. We are not. The biggest problem, we're the ones who actually, who incubate this problem, ensure that it gives birth, and then instead of having a proper solution, we come and lament here. This is an issue where the Ministry of Education, yesterday I was surprised, I was watching in the news, the Committee of Education had invited the Ministry of Education to the National Assembly. And even when you're looking at the priorities of that Ministry of Education, they had forgotten one very important basic thing, which is to budget for the exams that these children are taking. If we are not budgeting for the exam for these children, we are not investing in making sure that we support these children. We come up with policies that guarantees free primary education, free secondary education. How then are we going to come up and stop this issue of pregnancy? You know, sometimes people sit down and they say, you know, life is too hard. All I want to do is to get a meal for the day. You know, and when these kids who are vulnerable, when they go home, the parents are out there working to be able to feed those kids. And when those kids do not have activities to do, what do you expect them to do? They will be lured by guys who drive border borders, who've got some little money. You know, they'll be lured by politicians like us. They'll be lured by rich people from the cities. And you know, these kids will be mesmerized. And what do you know? They're pregnant. And then that is when they realize, oh my God, what did I just do? I think we need to ask ourselves, what steps do we need to take to be able to solve this problem? I think when I look at the senators who are in this chamber right now, I know Senator Mungatana is a father of girls. I know Senator Halwale is a father of girls, many girls. I know my good friend from Kwale is a father of girls. I'm a father of girls. So this is our problem. This is something that we need to take. I know the speaker is a father of girls. So really, all of us here, including the majority leader, they're all fathers of girls. So what should we be doing? What we should be advocating is not lamenting, but rather saying, how do we ensure that these girls remain in school? You know, I always hear when we politicians make statements and say no child should be left behind, you know. But are we really investing money? Are we putting money in those schools? Are we creating jobs for those kids to be able to have those jobs? You know, this is a time when all of us should be asking ourselves, even in our own environment, are we creating internships, opportunities? In America, where I grew up, you will see a high school kid, when they're in recess, or when they're on their school holidays, that kid is doing a job, you know, working at KFC to raise money. I raised money. I was doing 2-3 jobs to be able to go to school. But here, no, it's a problem. We are not creating jobs here. We are busy fighting between the Senate and the National Assembly on who is superior. Yet, our children, yet independent institutions come and carry out surveys. This one, I think, was done, incidents of induced abortion and related complications. Now, let's talk about the issue of abortion. When we talk about abortion in this country, one of the biggest issues that has been raised here as a concern is the issue of Plan B, where a child has unprotected sex, and then they are educated that you can get Plan B. You can get a pill the next day, and that is it, and you move on. Who should be the first person to educate these children on the dangers of these induced abortions? Is it the Poison and Pharmacy Board? Is it us? Is it the parents? That is a conversation we need to be able to have. Nowadays, because of all of us trying to line our pockets, to drive big cars and just enjoy our life, we miss out on our traditional cultural ceremonies. Before, the Luyas would be meeting and sitting down. They'll be having ceremonies. The Kalenjins, the Maasais will have the same ceremonies. And we'll talk about the importance, you know, of respecting young girls. In our Maasai culture, I'll tell you this. Before a boy is circumcised, that night you are asked whether you've slept with any woman. If you happen to have slept with a woman, nobody will hold your back. You are called Orgiregeni. You know, when we stopped all that, we stopped really focusing on that. People argue there is an issue of health concerns. Health concern my foot. You know, all we need to do is to ask ourselves, can we now go back to our traditional cultures? Can we go back on the most important tenets? What holds this community? Otherwise, Senator Muma will be coming here and lamenting and telling us, give us statistics. You know, give us statistics for Narok. Give us statistics. But are we going to eat statistics? No. I really feel the pain that my good Senator Muma has, the way she's feeling so passionate about this issue. But are we solving the problem? The problem is one. All of us must now put our foot down and demand that these kids, we must have free education in this country. We must support our public schools. You know, yesterday I was hearing that we have so many teachers who are interns, and they cannot be absorbed because there's no money. What do we need to do? I think, Majority Leader, it's about time that we start realigning our own existing resources. We start looking at ways that we can absorb these children, creating cultural things. In fact, the only thing that politicians do now is to be able to sponsor soccer tournaments. You know, you'll sponsor soccer tournaments, and you know what? You are eyeing 2027 because you want to bring people together, play soccer, give them T-shirts, give them balls, and then tomorrow you'll remember, oh, I'm the one who sponsored a soccer tournament in the whole of Narok County. Instead of us investing in mentoring activities, the women, the professional women's here, what we should be hearing is that we have a problem. And to solve this problem, we must go to the root cause of this problem. These kids are idle. You know, these kids are poor. Their families don't even have food. They are lured. So we agree and say, what do we do? What activities do we give these children when they're on school holidays? But if we stand here and we say, Senator Ledama brings statistics of the children in girls in Narok who are pregnant, what are those statistics going to help you with? Nothing. Of course, they can inform you when it comes to the issue of decisions, but if you cannot solve the basic problem of ensuring that that child is busy, talking to that child about her future, talking to that child, you know, when we were growing up, the most important thing was for you to finish school, get a white-collar job. Now, we don't need to get white-collar jobs anymore. We can be creative. We can be creative. In the Maasai culture, we can use our tools, make beadwork, the women in our culture. I'm told that I have some girls from Signani School here, and I hope that they'll still be around. We just invested about 120 million by the national government to build a bidding center. I hope this bidding center can take these girls there, mentor them, so that even if they don't get jobs, they can be able, in future, they can be able to make money for themselves. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this statement, but apart from just giving statistics, I think it now behooves all of us to start thinking and saying, what are we going to do to ensure that we promote free primary and secondary education, and we introduce mentoring programs to help children understand their sex health. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mungatana.
Bwana Spika, ningependa kusema machache kuhusu mimba za mapema za watoto wetu. Bwana Spika, kule kwetu tunatoka Tana River, shida hii bado ipo. Na hii inaongezwa nguvu na tabia ya kuoa mapema ambayo inafanyika. Ningependa kuchukua nafasi hii kwanza kushukuru koti zetu za upande ule wa Tana River. Manake koti nyingi zimekwisha wafunga watu, na ile akili ya kwamba mambo ya kushika watoto imeanza kuingia. Lakini kwa muda mrefu, Bwana Spika, mambo haya yalikuwa yanaendelea. Kwanza ningependa kuwashukuru sana wale ambao wote wanahusika katika kitengo cha machifu na assistant county commissioners, kwa sababu mbali na kufungwa kwa watu ambao wanahusika na kitendo hichi, tumepata a lot of watu wengi SCCs na machifu ambao wamefanya education kwa wananchi kila sehemu, na tunashukuru sana kwa sababu kazi hii inazidi kuendelea. Jambo ambalo tungependa kusema na ningependa kusema katika seneti hii ni kwamba wazazi na viongozi wa jamii tuache hii tabia ya kutafuta maslahi wakati ni watoto wadogo ndio wanaolewa mapema, watoto wanaharibiwa. Tuache kabisa hii tabia ya kutafuta maslahi. Tunataka watoto wetu wasome, na wale wazee ambao wanashika watoto ama wanajaribu kuwaoza watoto ambao wako chini ya miaka 18, koti zetu, machifu wetu wafanye bidii hao watu waadhibiwe. Jambo la pili na la mwisho kuhusu hizi mimba za mapema, Bwana Spika, ni kuomba sisi wazazi pia tuchukue nafasi kukaa na watoto wetu. Asubuhi kama watu wameenda shamba na jioni wamerudi, ama watu wameenda kuuza vitu kule sokoni na jioni wamerudi, ama watoto wameenda shule na jioni wamerudi, ama wameenda kuchunga mbuzi na ng'ombe na jioni wamerudi, tuchukue nafasi kukaa na watoto wetu. Dunia hii ambayo tunaishi, Bwana Spika, ni dunia chafu. Kama ni kwa mitandao, dunia ni chafu. Kama ni kwa mazungumzo, dunia ni chafu. Kama ni huko mahali watu wanakunywanga mapombe, dunia ni chafu. Kwa hivyo sisi kama wazazi tuchukue jukumu la kuongea na watoto wetu. Yaani kwa kizungu tunasema pushback. Lazima tuchukue nafasi ya kukaa na watoto wetu, kuongea na wao. Mimi kama ilivyosemekana hapa ni mzazi wa wasichana. Na nimekuja kutambua, manake nilikuwa sijui. Mimi nilikuwa nafikiria kujuana, watu wanaenda wanaongea, wanakunywa chai, kisha baadaye ndio wanaenda restaurant na mambo kama hivyo vile tulifanya, ama kukaa hapa National Park, ama kununua njugu na kukaa hapa chini ya miti hapa kuongeshana. Siku hizi mambo ni tofauti, mambo ni different kwa ground. Wasichana wangu walikuwa akiniambia vile mambo yako hii dunia, hata nimeshtuka Bwana Spika. Siku hizi watu ni internet, kila kitu ni internet, watu wanasoma maprofile, watu wanaelezana kila kitu. Ati sasa sio kama zamani, ati mimi siwezi kutana na watu ati tunaenda kukula njugu. Tunakula njugu ya wapi dadi? Unaona sasa mambo yamebadilika, mambo yamekuwa, watu sio vile tulikuwa kitambo. Kwa hivyo ni lazima sisi tukae tuwaongeleshe hawa watoto wetu. Lazima, yani hii ni kama ni vita. Kwa sababu wewe usipowaongelesha, ukweli wa watoto wako utakuwa ni ukweli wa wale watoto ambao wana tabia mbaya. Ukweli wa watoto wako itakuwa ni ukweli wa ile mavideo chafu wanaangalia katika internet. Ukweli wa watoto wako itakuwa ni zile story wanaambiwa na watu wengine. Lazima tuchukue nafasi ya kupinga kabisa haya mambo na kuwafundisha maadili na dini. Na isiwe kwamba dini sisi sasa tunangojea watu wa kanisa ama watu wa madrasa wawafundishe dini. Sisi wenyewe kule nyumbani lazima tukikaa na kuomba na watoto wetu, kuongea na wao na kuwafundisha, ili mambo haya ya mimba zisizotakikana yapungue. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, kati ya mambo mengi ambayo lazima tufanye sisi kama Wakenya, lazima tuchukue majukumu yetu kama wazazi ili kupigana na hizi mimba za mapema. Asante sana Bwana Spika.
Senator Julius Murgo.
Asante kwa kunipa nafasi hii, Bwana Spika. Neno hili la mimba ya mapema ni kitu ambacho shika mwendo sana siku hizi. Nadhani pamoja na yale wenzangu wamesema kwamba umaskini umezidi, na ndipo watoto jipata tu wanaongozwa kufanya haya maneno kupitia njia ambazo ni rahisi, kama kununuliwa sweet, kama kununuliwa biskuti na vitu kama hivi. Vinachukua watoto wetu wachukuliwe na watu walio na nia mbaya. Njia ambayo imekuwa rahisi sana ni watu wa pikipiki hasa, ambao wanachukua watoto wetu kwenda shuleni, kwenda sokoni, kwenda pahali ambapo wanataka kwenda, na vijana fulani, watu fulani wanajifanya ni wateja wa kuwasaidia. Hata saa zingine wanawachukua bure bila malipo, na kwa njia hii wanawatengenezea njia mbofu ya kuweza kuwakuta na kuweza kulala nao na kuwapa mimba. Na kule nyumbani baba na mama siku hizi hawajali kuketi na watoto wao na kuwaongelesha. Wamama kitambo kidogo ama zamani walikuwa wanaongelesha wasichana, hasa wasichana wale ambao wameanza kupata damu za mwezi. Wamama wanajua ya kwamba bila shaka watapata mimba wakati wowote, na kwa hivyo wanakaribia kabisa kuongea nao na kuweka maneno wazi ili msichana ajue ya kwamba akilala na mfulana, akilala na mwanaume, mimba yaweza kupatikana wakati wowote. Na kwa hivyo sasa wamama siku hizi wameachia walimu wawe ndio wanakaribia watoto, na labda kanisani ama madrasa wanaachiwa waongeleshe watoto. Na hao pia saa zingine wengine huko wanakuwa nyang'au ama wale ambao wataweza kutumia hao watoto vibaya, na kwa hivyo kila pahali sasa ni hatari kwa mtoto msichana na mtoto mfulana pia, kwa sababu watoto wa fulana pia wameingia katika hali hiyo ya kutumiwa vibaya na watu walio na nia mbaya. Na kwa hivyo ili tuweze kukabiliana na hali ambayo tunayo sasa, ni kuongea na watoto kwa njia ambayo ni wazi, hasa baba na mama wenyewe waongee kwanza na wajadili juu ya watoto wao na mienendo ya kila mtoto vile anaenda, ili waweze kuwasaidia wasiweze kutumiwa vibaya na wajikute wana mimba. Na mtoto msichana akishapata mimba ni kama mwisho ya barabara ya maisha ya kesho. Hata ingawa tunapiga kiraka kidogo, tunasema aache mtoto pahali na rejee shuleni, lakini huyo ni mtu ambaye tayari ameumia. Huyo ni mtu ambaye hali yake ambayo yalikuwa vile alifikiria, vile alikuwa huru, vile aliota ndoto zake za maisha ya baadaye, yanaanza kudidimia na kuwa mtu ambaye amenusurika hali ambayo haiwezi kumwendeleza katika maisha yake. Pia wazazi au hasa wazee kuingia sana katika mvinyo na waweka katika hali ya kutojali. Wao sasa hawaoni watoto wao wanaelekeaje, kwa sababu wakati wanaingia nyumbani ni nyakati ambayo labda watoto hawako, wamelala ama hata wametawanyika, na kwa hivyo yafaa wazazi wajirekebishe kabisa ili waweze kustahimili yale ambayo yanaingia watoto wao kwa wakati wa sasa. Asante.
Honorable Senators, the time for statements and contributions to statements has now lapsed. We will have to proceed to the next order. And at this juncture, we'll rearrange the order paper so that we defer order number 9 to number 14 and proceed to order number 15. Clerk, next order.
Order number 15, the Creative Economy Support Bill, Senate Bills number 30 of 2024. Resumption of debate interrupted on Wednesday, 14th May 2025, afternoon sitting.
Senator Sige, you were on the floor of the House when this debate was interrupted, and you had a remainder of 4 minutes. Please proceed.
The mic. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will start from where I left yesterday, and I wish the sponsor of this bill, Senator Eddie Okech, who was in the House, because this is a proposal that I would like to make as regards the provision. Thank you. I would like to make a proposal to Senator Eddie to amend Clause 13 of this bill. Clause 13 provides for the Cabinet Secretary of the relevant ministry to designate an administrative unit. I'd like to propose that this be devolved to the county government so that the relevant CEC member in the county government be permitted by law to designate relevant administrative unit within the respective department in the county government to serve as a secretary.
Senator Sigei, use the dispatch box. There seems to be a problem with your mic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Creative Economic Support Bill 2024, I had my contributions yesterday, and I would like to proceed from where I left. This is a proposal to the amendment to Clause 13 that provides for designation by the Cabinet Secretary of an administrative unit within the relevant or respective ministry to serve as a secretariat. To make sure that this bill performs the objectives as listed, the county government relevant CEC should also be given an opportunity in law to designate within the relevant department and a unit which will be required to run as a secretariat to the board. And I propose that even as Senator Okech runs through the proposals that were made previously by other members, this will be one of those which I feel is important and relevant in order to ensure that the management, administration, and also the aspect of registration and maintenance of the creative economy players in the sector are done not only at the national level, but at the county governments as well. Under Clause 16, Clause 16 provides that a person who wishes to be a member of the guild, in this case we propose that it be amended to read council, shall submit an application in the prescribed form to the board. I further propose that this clause be amended in order to make sure that it is not only the individual who can who can apply to be registered, because we are aware that creative groups have got aspects where one individual cannot perform. We have got the acrobats who normally roll out their expertise along our streets. They should be allowed to register with the council as a group and benefit out of this process. So I propose that corporate membership be included in Clause 16 so that dancers, players in a certain field, acrobats or actors who have registered themselves as a group are allowed to belong to the council and benefit from the administration and the management of the council. Lastly, because of time, I wish also to propose that under Clause 626, the incentives to the members who have been registered under the council should trickle down to the county governments. And I propose that a clause be introduced that will permit the county governments to be involved in the day-to-day management and administration of relevant creative economic sectors. This is the only way where we will ensure that besides giving the responsibility to the county governments to set up in departments and facilitate by giving a budget, they also have a secretariat that will run. Because as it is right now, this bill do not provide for what role and how are county governments going to be involved in this particular implementation of the proposals of the bill. This way, we will be ensuring that whatever is done at the national government if it is devolved, there is a unit within the county government that is involved in managing. And Mr. Speaker, I wish, as I conclude, to once again congratulate Senator Eddy for coming up with this very timely bill and urge members to support in order to make sure that we also look at how we can monetize, how we can create the so much job opportunities that we desire, and make sure that we formalize this sector so that people do not see it as a part-time or as another sector which we can get employment, but one of the main source of employment to our youth, the current and the future. Mr. Speaker, I thank you and I support.
Honorable Senators, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon of visiting teachers and students from Sekenani Girls Secondary School in Narok County. The delegation comprises 7 teachers and 140 students who are in the Senate for a one-day academic exposure. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. I thank you. Senator Olekina, you may take time to welcome the students.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me take this opportunity to welcome the students and their teachers from Sekenani Girls to the Senate of the Republic of Kenya. I know earlier we had students from Molderkesi, and we also had students from Chorro, but at least the few of you who have come in late are the ones that have gotten an opportunity for me to welcome you to the Senate. This is the Senate of the Republic of Kenya. We are here today. Tomorrow it will be you who will be sitting here. It will be you who will be making decisions for the other generation. So I really want to welcome you, and I want you to take your time to be able to understand how we argue. In the Senate of Kenya, we have 2 sides of the aisle, you know, but today, it seems that on my side of the aisle, it is only 2 of us. Normally, we are full house. On the other side, we seem to have a few more senators. So it is imperative for you to understand the kind of work that we do. We established under Article 96 of the Constitution, and our job is to defend the interests of counties. I'm very happy to see you here today, and I want to promise you that I will be coming to your school to be able to come and talk to you about leadership. Most important thing is that earlier on we were talking about teenage pregnancy. I want to encourage you as young girls, as my daughters, to be able to look forward to coming to this house to be able to serve our people. So for now, I want to tell you, boys might be sweet, but they are not as sweet as your future. Because if you waste your time now dancing around with boys, you will not be able to have a bright future. Most of us are here because we sacrifice. I want to urge you to sacrifice. I know the challenges, I know where you come from, I know your parents are struggling to put you to school. You're also in a very good environment. Sekenani, Mr. Speaker, is located at the gate of the Masai Mara Game Reserve. In fact, most of these girls in their home, when they're going to school, they just, you know, pass each other with wild animals, and they just shake hands, or maybe they wave, and they appreciate each other. So I really am very grateful to have seen you here today, and I promise you that I'll be coming there in the next few weeks to be able to come and meet most of you so that we can talk about the future. We are also creating economic activities. Mr. Speaker, at the Sekenani Gate, the Ministry of Culture has established a bidding center where the national government is investing about 120 million shillings. We were there last week with the president and officiated the opening or the groundbreaking of that facility. I want to encourage you during school holidays for you to be able to go there and nurture your talent. Some of the bill that we're talking about here is on creative industries. It is about time for you to think of yourself as future leaders. Future leaders are designed either for you to come here or to build your own economy. You become a leader in everything that you do. By the time you guys are our age, things will be very different. So welcome to the Senate, and I hope that we can continue engaging. And thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Olekina, you're also next in contributing to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this very timely bill, the Creative Economy Support Bill. Mr. Speaker, in this country today, because of the rate of unemployment, a lot of youth are becoming very creative to a point where they pay for their school. Most of our youth have become content creators. If you go to TikTok, some of us who wake up very early in the morning at around 5, or maybe 3 in the morning and you cannot be able to sleep, you try to figure out what is new in the creative industry. But the biggest problem that I see in this industry is that, one, I believe that we have actually overregulated it. I support this bill which is being proposed by Senator Eddy, but I think we need to allow this creative industry to self-regulate. When we allow them to self-regulate, they can actually be able to make sense of what they're able to do. Mr. Speaker, I have traveled around the world. Recently, I was in a country where very few people will dare go because there are very few flights that go to that country. In fact, from Dubai, there are only 2 aircraft that flies to that country. But what was so interesting about that country, and this is Belarus, is that it's a country that lives on its own. They believe in different political ideology, such that they are treated differently from those ones who believe in the principle of ideologies of the NATO-friendly countries. This is a Russian-friendly country. But one thing that really moved me is the creative industry in that country. I was shocked that, in the eve of a presidential election, the capital city of Belarus, it's called Minsk or something like that, the government organizes, the Electoral Commission organizes activities, which are sponsored by the creative industry. They organize dances, people come there and dance. They are reminded of their history. They are reminded where they have come from, the challenges they have come from. Most of that country economy was decimated during the Second World War. Everything was brought down. There was nothing in that country. So they had to rebuild everything. So when you invest in the creative sector, you encourage people to be able to, not to be idle, to be able to come up with activities. Yesterday, Mr. Speaker, I got a text message from a young girl, a Maasai young girl. She calls herself DJ Queen. And she said, please, Senator, allow me, or can you please help me to be able to perform at the upcoming Madaraka Day celebration? And I know it's going to be held in Homa Bay, so I'm going to be reaching out to the presidential units to be able to ask whether they can allow this young girl to showcase her talent. She makes her living by singing. I know so many young girls who are looking for jobs, they cannot be able to get jobs. But these young girls, when they look for jobs, if they cannot be able to get jobs, they get into the creative sector. I have a young girl called Fabi Lekanaya. She also does the same thing. She goes out there and creates. What is the best way for us to be able to support these young girls? For them to be able to have money? Some of these kids come from very poor economies. Is it over-regulating? Is it by setting up an advisory board or setting up a corporate to be able to manage them? My view is that that would be the wrong way to go. And I'm going to be having a conversation with my good friend, Senator Eddy, that we should not over-regulate. We should not set up a board, most of them who are not even from the creative sector, to be able to govern the creative industry economy. We should allow this creative industry around all the 47 counties to self-regulate. We should allow county governments to play a critical role. I long for the days when we used to have a national choir. When we were growing up and we were in primary school, when President Moi will come and open, when it is Madaraka Day or Jamhuri Day, there used to be like a national choir which will come to our schools. We'll all of us sing a song. We'll go to Madaraka Day. All of us will sing, will participate. I long for the time when county government will create their own, will invest in their own creative industries. When you live abroad, Mr. Speaker, I lived in a small town called Concord in Massachusetts, And every Christmas holiday, you'll find all the fine artists coming to perform. The little town of Concord will sponsor. The businesses will sponsor these young people to be able to come there and do their performance. This is where we want to go. Towns have bands. You know, those bands, these people are paid to be able to be in that band. If we now overregulate and we now say, let us set up a board that sits in Nairobi to regulate the creative industry, we are killing that creative industry. I think what we should do, because we're a country that is struggling to be able to create jobs and to look for jobs for these people, let's allow them to use the internet for free. Let us not tax the internet whatsoever. Let allow them to build their content. You know, they can use TikTok, they can use Facebook, they can use Twitter, Instagram. Let them do it. You know, I come from a school of thought that believes that we should never tax something which is free. The internet connects us. And every time I tell my staff is that your network is your net worth. So this creative industry should be looking at the networks that they have outside there. Which is the network that they have out there? They have people who will sit down here, go through Facebook, look at it. Let us find a way that these companies, which are companies that are formed in foreign countries, can be able to support children here, pay for their school fees. You know, I have about almost 2 million followers on Twitter, you know, and from time to time, I get a small, amount of money from X sending to me. You know, it's a small, but it's taxed. I wish it was not taxed, because then I could probably donate to someone else to be able to support them. So the most important thing that we need to think about this bill, and I want to have a sit down with Senator Eddy, so that during the committee of the whole, we can actually be able to try and see how do we develop a piece of legislation that will not make it difficult for people, for content creators to make money. It will make it easier for them to be able to benefit. I wish we could have one thing in this country which is free. You know, you cannot create jobs for everybody. Allow them to go make money. Let them use their knowledge and make money. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I don't fully support, although I partially support it. Let me correct myself, because Senator Eddy is one of the most intelligent young senators you'll find here. Establishment of this creative industry guild. Why should that guild be advising the cabinet secretary? What is the role of a cabinet secretary in my creativity? There's absolutely no role. This guild should be looking at where to engage the private sector, for the private sector to invest in these young creators, content creators, to invest in this sector, so that every advertisement which is done out there, if it is for me advertising the milk that I produce, I look for a young Maasai content creator, or I look for a young Giriama content creator, a young Somali content creator, to be able to advertise that milk. Why should, then the guild should be talking to the private sector, not the cabinet secretary. You know, this authority is created every time, and you're giving this cabinet secretary so much power. And when even you invite these cabinet secretaries to your committees, they come there unprepared, they look clueless. Like today, Mr. Speaker, I was actually perplexed. We had the cabinet secretary in charge of lands coming to the committee of lands to be able to respond to statements. There were like almost 20 statements which were requested, they were piling in our office. There were petitions. When she comes, not ready. We sit there and waste our time for no reason. Why are we giving them so much time? They will not even have time to sit down with this guild. So, Senator Eddy, do away with this role. We don't need the cabinet secretary to be involved in everybody's business. That's why I keep on saying we are over-regulating for no reason. Mr. Speaker, you know, this guild, when you say that number 7B, conduct labor market surveys and mapping exercise of person involved in the creative industry and put in place the most appropriate strategies that facilitate the development of the creative industry. This is why I keep on saying we are over-regulating. We are over-legislating. Allow this industry to self-regulate. if today, Mr. Speaker, you ask me to give you a list of all Maasai artists, secular and gospel artists, I will give it to you. Why? Because I have an interest in them. Okay? I have two interests in them. I have to figure out anytime I have an event, I know who I can be able to invite so that I can be able to support them. The private sector can play a critical role here. The private sector has a role to play. Every so often, you see Citizen TV or Citizen Radio doing road shows. You know, you see radio stations carrying out road shows, and they hire the services of these artists to be able to market their stations. You know, let them self-regulate. The only thing that I could probably support here is that every county government should have a record of the artist, but not set up a guild that goes out and map. You are mapping, they are coming up every day, Mr. Speaker. They are doing collabos with artists in South Africa, they are doing collabos with artists in Tanzania, in Uganda. This is not necessary. What we should be looking at is that if this guild should engage the private sector so that in Narok County we have a performance center. And in that performance center, on a daily basis, you have 5 or 6 artists who are going there, sell tickets, let them go. If you go to New York, Mr. Speaker, you know, I think New York, around the world, is a place where one street, you'll find so many artists. And of course, those artists who are there, they'll be performing. There are orchestras, there are all these things. The private sector is playing a key role. We forget the power of the private sector. Let us try to fight to have a small government and allow the private sector to build this economy. Mr. Speaker, what I like a little bit about the role of this guild is that collaborate with relevant institutions to facilitate the protections of the intellectual property rights of creative artists through sensitization and awareness programs, and facilitate the registration of works produced by creative artists. If you ask me, does that make sense? Absolutely. Because of copyright issues. But Mr. Speaker, today you'll fight the Copyright Society of Kenya. And they will sit down and have coffee with CAK. And before you realize, everybody is asked to pay money. And when you follow through, you'll find that that copyright society, and it is legislated by this house, it is a bunch of few people who make all that money. If the guild can now come in and say, artist, you have a choice. You can have your own channel, play the music. When you play the music, find a way for people to pay you. You know, I like that. Number 2, I like the fact that we protect the intellectual property rights. I wish we were thinking like this when we the Maasais, for instance, talk about our rungus, our shukas, our beadwork, to be able to protect that. People come to Kenya, sometimes people come to Kenya, not because they come to see Kenya, but they come to see the Maasais. You know, if we can protect that, that will make sense. So this guild should not be advising the cabinet secretary. It should be finding a way that they have meetings with these artists, you know, and if there's any upcoming artist, send your name, send your content for them to be able to protect you. That one I fully support. You know, collaborate with intellectual property rights, that's E as well, which is a very good. Collaborate with relevant entities to ensure the transparent distribution of royalties collected. In fact, on this particular one of royalties collection, in the current age where there are so many online companies that are giving these content creators a platform to be able to showcase their talent, you know, we should not be having one individual who is collecting this money to be able to distribute to them. I think artists should sign contracts directly with radio stations. They should sign contracts directly with TV stations and find a way for give and take. You play my music, you know. When you play my music, I don't charge you, you know. Or I appear there, you give me an opportunity to be able to market my kind of music. So those are the things that we need to look into. Finally, Mr. Speaker, as I sit down, let me reiterate on the importance of this bill. But I think, and I want to repeat this again, I will be sitting down with Senator Eddy to do away with overregulation, to do away with this need to set up, a body that now governs the creative industry. We don't. Let it self-regulate. Let people make money. Let people enjoy. And finally, and most importantly, let us make sure it is tax-free because it is their creativity. Don't charge me. Don't overburden me with taxes for my creativity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Catherine Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this bill by Honorable Senator Eddy Okech. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to congratulate the Senator because I think the creative industry in Kenya is largely emerging and growing on its own. You will agree with me, Honorable Senators, that as a country, we have not invested heavily in recognizing the broad different aspects of creative industry and investing in it enough to grow the industry. Mr. Speaker, the enactment of a law on the creative industry provides an opportunity for us to have a policy direction in dealing with issues that relate to creatives. And following up to what Senator Olekina has said, I would urge that this policy direction should be more facilitative than it should be about regulation. And so I support the passing of this bill, but would urge that we look carefully at instances that might claw back what we want to do by overregulation. So I'm glad that Eddy has come up with it, and the greatest things we need to do here is to provide opportunity to the sectors, different sectors, to ensure that we increase opportunities and an equitable access to these opportunities to ensure that our young people, even older people, our cultural people are able to participate in the creative industry in a manner that can actually benefit them and also benefit the country. Looking at the provisions of the bill, Honorable Speaker, I will make time to actually provide my written comments. I have looked through the bill, and I would want to caution a little bit on close-ended drafting. Mr. Speaker, if you come to clause 2 on definitions, you can see that the definition of the word creative industry says it means all activities or trade by persons that produce artistic, cultural, or innovative goods and services, including fashion, publishing, advertising, crafts, music, audio, visual, and performing arts, video, film, and imaging, photography, gaming, and animation, and graphic design, and web design, and so on. But even in all this naming, I'm sure you can think of others that have been left out. One that I can think of is just artworks. You know, the clear art, the drawings that people make and sell, or paintings that people make and sell. That is art. We have many others. Even plaiting of hair is an art. So I would want, and I would urge Senator Eddy, that we must, in our definitions, ensure that the definitions are open-ended enough to be more inclusive rather than exclusive. The same comment goes on the clause that actually provides for the membership of the guild. The clause that is providing for the membership of the guild has actually named various people who should form the membership of this guild. You have a principal secretary relating to trade industrialization. I don't know why must it be trade, why not culture? You have somebody nominated by an association representing the largest number of persons in the film industry. How do you define that? There is one person nominated by the association representing the largest number of persons in the music industry. What parameters do you use to determine that? You have one person nominated by the association representing the largest number in the fashion industry. Now it has picked what it has named there. I'm wondering whether that style, I'm glad that he's actually naming different bits, but I don't know whether that style is clear enough to deliver the people we want. Do we want those in film association and the film industry and their associations to elect one among them to represent? Or how do we determine what is largest? Largest means what? So we need to be careful about that. When you look at that clause 8, Roman I, it talks of an advocate of the High Court of Kenya nominated by the Law Society of Kenya. I don't know why open-ended like that. We might have wanted, if we must have a lawyer, we might have wanted a lawyer who has competence in intellectual property rights. And maybe that is now bringing on board the lawyer that will actually be able to provide guidance to that team. And then we have a clause later that says to ensure not more than 2/3 gender. Mr. Speaker, this is the space where I think one of the memberships should have gone directly to persons living with disability. The reason I say this, persons with disability are ordinarily excluded from the job market. They are not employed. The school process actually is very limited. You will find that we have very few deaf schools for persons with hearing disability run by missionaries. And you find that because we have never provided for them in the public realm, you will find that even the way we have designed a Senate, for instance, I don't see if we had a member who had a hearing disability, how do we facilitate their participation here? If you go to a Ministry of Education, the Attorney General's office, is it designed so that when management meetings are there, they can provide for a person with hearing disability? Now, most of these people have had to actually look to their own inward resources to earn a living. So we have a number of people with disabilities who have ended up in the creative industry because largely they were excluded by society. I would have wanted to see a specific seat on this advisory board by persons with disability. In fact, maybe 2 seats that would represent 2 different types of disability, because persons with disability are in this industry or have had to fall back to this industry in order to be taken care of. Mr. Speaker, when discussing the mandate of the national government and each county at clause 3, the bill talks of creating an enabling environment through support, direct and indirect. It talks of formulating and implementing policies and strategies for development and promotion of sustainable, diverse creatives, which is a good one. And just a typo on that clause, that B, I would say national and county levels, add an S there of government, not level of government. When you come to clause C of that, clause 3C, it talks of promoting the development of entrepreneurship skills for persons in the creative industry economy through programs offered institutions of higher learning. If you say institutions of higher learning, you then limit it to only some cadre of the institutions. I would urge Senator Eddy to simply make it to be in education and other learning institutions, so that we can start thinking of introducing creatives even in early childhood learning. We can actually have spaces that will be able to have children participating in drama, in theater, singing and things like those. So we should not make it an issue just of higher learning, because this is about nurturing talent. When it comes to E, it says review existing international and domestic trade policies, practices that hinder. I'm sure that whoever is drafting this, you can see there are some wording missing there. You should say to eliminate practices that hinder the growth of the creative industry, and while mitigating, while incorporating provisions that will mitigate against such negative provisions. So there are a number of, if somebody has read this, and I'm speaking particularly to the staff that are assisting Eddie to draft this, please read through to ensure that there is grammatical flow of developing this bill. When it comes to clause 4, it says the Cabinet Secretary shall establish and maintain an online platform where persons in the creative industry may publish events. I'm wondering whether this is the, excuse me, Mr. Speaker, I'm wondering this is whether, in our experience, a government ministry will be the best place to actually create and maintain a website that is marketing the creatives. I think what we want is government to provide just enough environment, and since the ICT ministries are supposed to be putting up ICT hubs in every constituency, hopefully they can move on to every ward. That space should just have enabled internet access and protected, safe internet access to ensure that the young creatives can actually market themselves as they are able to provide. When you come to clause 5 talks about the Cabinet Secretary responsible for matters relating to education shall ensure that the curriculum developed under Section 4D of the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development includes subjects relating to the creative industry. I'm suggesting that another clause be added so that it's not just the school curriculum that has it, but also the teacher training curriculum also needs to have. You can't put this in the school curriculum and yet you have not provided it in the teacher training curriculum. Honorable Speaker, this is important because we take some things for granted. We just this afternoon spoke about this motion on adolescents' health, and you had my passionate plea to us to give attention to this. One of the things that I discovered in this, Mr. Speaker, when I was doing writing up a training manual on HIV rights for young people, I spoke to adolescents, I spoke to parents, I spoke to teachers about how to go about educating our young people on matters relating to sex and life skills. The teachers told me that parents and everybody expects that in the schools we will teach these children what they need to know. But the teacher training curriculum has never provided anything on life skills for children. We are taught the subjects that we have. And then there is something called guiding and counseling. But that guiding and counseling does not provide adequate information for us to say we can provide sex education. So in the same manner, I am suggesting that the teacher training curriculum, if we intend to grow and support the creatives industry within learning institutions, we should begin by giving the teachers who will be teaching these learners the skills to be able to do this adequately. Mr. Speaker, I can see the yellow light, and I still have many, many more, and I will be writing down my comments and providing to Eddie. I would want to suggest that the language of formulate, the guild shall formulate and implement strategies, is not a very good language, drafting language. They should just develop key policies that should guide development, implementation. A strategy is a down-the-line implementation tool. So we should not put a strategy within the bill. I'm suggesting we
Senator Muma, just a moment. What's your point of order, Senator Metho?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want to draw your attention to Standing Order 116. I would not have wanted to interrupt Senator Catherine Muma, but she keeps referring to some person as Eddie. And I can see our standing orders provide that a senator shall refer to another senator by the name senator, the name of the senator. I think it will be proper that she refers to the owner of the bill as Senator Eddie, rather than just refer to him as Eddie. I know he's a fairly young man and probably qualifies to be a son, but since he's a senator, I think it is fair that we just refer to him as Senator Eddie.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. That is very well noted. I wish to tell you that I have the highest regard for you young people here. And when I say Eddie, it's just a show that it's a colleague. But I have no offense meant in that. So it is Senator Eddie that I'm referring to. Now I'll give the last one, and then the rest I think I'll give. I'm proposing we delete clause 7E. Clause 7E, and there'll be a few others, suggests that the Guild will collaborate with intellectual property rights enforcement agencies to ensure the enforcement of intellectual property rights of creative artists. What is this saying? We already have enforcement agencies, but through this clause, we are giving another enforcement mandate to this Guild. What are you going to do? You're going to cause confusion, because the Guild will start saying it is the one that is supposed to enforce matters relating to intellectual property. So whoever drafted this, please look at it a little on that. F says collaborate with other relevant authorities, collaborate with the relevant authorities to ensure the transparent distribution of royalties. Again, matters royalties needs to be thought through properly, so we provide a clause where we are ensuring a process that is transparent, just, and fair for the collection of royalties that relates to the artworks and the works of the creatives. Mr. Speaker, I have many more detailed bits which I hope to sit down and write and hand over to Senator Eddy. But I want to commend him for this and to say, Honorable Speaker, that where we are with bloated public service, with ghost workers, with issues of lack of integrity in employment, we must provide a facilitative role for our young boys and girls to be able to earn a living out of the creative industry. I support. Thank you.
Senator Karen Nyamu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll begin by saying anything that supports our young people, anything that helps them commercialize or put into money their creativity, this House should support. And I want to say that by definition of the creative industry, we need to expand that. There's new upcoming spheres in that space that are not captured in this bill. Mr. Speaker, these days we have influencers, very young people in our country who are earning money by influencing others to purchase a certain product. We have creatives who may not yet have had a contract to influence, but they have TikTok accounts where they express their creativity and they have viewership and who have potential to monetize that. We also have a very popular one these days called tea vendors in the social media and in the internet that are also monetizing this tea. And Mr. Speaker, tea is another name for gossip or just talking about what's happening in the society. And sometimes they could cross a line and talk about people's personal lives, but Kenyans have proven to be very interested in what's happening in celebrities' lives and their families. And this tea has also been monetized. We have Githaiga Wachai, a very young man who has risen very fast in popularity. Senator Methu must know him. And he's just a representative of young people who just come up, be themselves.
Senator Karen Nyamu, would you like to be informed by Senator
Yes,
Methu?
Senator Methu can inform
Very
me.
well.
Just to inform Senator Karen, because she has mentioned Githaiga Wachai, and has said that I must be knowing him. For sure, I know Githaiga Wachai, and I actually met him today at a place that we were launching a party, and he's a member of our party, and he's running for a political position. So he's making the best out of the name that he has created in that arena of chai.
I hope you're informed,
Thank you, Senator
Karen.
Methu. I think everything that Senator Methu has told me, I already knew. I know the young man is actually vying for a seat in Zimmerman. We are not sure if he's a member. He could be shopping for a party.
No, he already came today.
But that might not be final. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, that is not part of what I was saying about this bill. Mr. Speaker, my point was, let us expand the definition of what entails the creative industry in this country to make sure that we do not exclude some of these creatives that are not traditionally considered creatives. Mr. Speaker, we have to create also an enabling environment for our creatives. Let us develop a good infrastructure, the digital superhighway and others that are going to accelerate the creatives. Mr. Speaker, we also have to abolish bad policies that end up taking advantage of our creatives. We know that our music artists have been earning deplorable or amounts of royalties in their 500 shillings. A gentleman like Calligraph Jones, very talented, his shows are filled up to capacity. He can fill stadiums. And you do not imagine the kind of royalties he earns, 1,000 shillings or such amounts, Mr. Speaker. We have to do away with MS, what is it called? MS, this music body that regulates, or Senator, he has left. We have to do away with bodies that are taking advantage of our creatives just because we do not have a framework. Mr. Speaker, we also need to give market access to our artists. You know, we need to facilitate them so that they can have market access outside the country and everywhere in this country. And we have to support this creative economy. In the country, it is still a baby. I know we say it has grown, but to me, we have barely scratched the surface. There is huge potential. You know, in Kenya, we are experiencing a youth bulge. And a youth bulge means that a certain demographic where it applies in our country, it happens to be the youth, they are the biggest or the highest percentage of the population in a country. We have to take advantage of this youth bulge. Youth bulge can be a resource or it can be a danger depending on how ready a country is for that kind of demographic. And these are some of the policies and laws that can create an enabling environment to have youth absorbed, to have them busy, and building the economy. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I want to support this bill. I want to congratulate Senator Eddy for being very progressive and thinking about our youth and our creatives. Thank you.
Senator Peris Tobiko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the bill by Senator Eddy on the Creative Economy Support Bill. Mr. Speaker, the creative industry in Kenya is one that has made the difference between starvation and food on the table, Mr. Speaker, for very many young Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. It is an industry where your socioeconomic background will not matter or does not hold you back. Because once your talent is recognized by the audience or once you have found a way to connect with the people, you can monetize it and make a living out of it, Mr. Speaker. We have seen some people like Elsa Majimbo reach a global audience and change their lives for the better through the power of the creative industry and the audience on their phones. Mr. Speaker, the country at large can benefit from the growth of the creative industry by making Kenyans a conducive environment for creatives to thrive, Mr. Speaker. We need to invest more in the arts because they matter, just as you know what we insist in our education system about STEM. You know, we are always talking about STEM, the science, technologies, and engineering and maths. But there are those who can make a living and make it big and be known out of the creative industry, Mr. Speaker. The country at large, Mr. Speaker, can benefit if we reduce the cost of filming licenses around the country. We would have more international films being shot here because Kenya is a very scenic country. Kenya has very beautiful spots, Mr. Speaker, right from the beaches to the Masai Mara to our mountains, Mr. Speaker. And this we could take advantage of. No, you have seen, Mr. Speaker, and I'm sure you have been to Dubai, and you have seen people in the desert changing the desert to become their gold, Mr. Speaker. You know, the desert safari, they're making money, Mr. Speaker. In this country, we could also use the beautiful Kenya for the creative industry, Mr. Speaker, to make a living for people and to bring in foreign exchange that is really needed in this country. And also, this filming industry and the creative industry is a selling point for Kenya, Mr. Speaker. It will depict Kenya, they will depict Kenya in their films, and many people will want to visit Kenya. I remember this film that was shot somewhere in the very arid parts of Kajiado called Saikeri, and it is sold, and it's still selling, Mr. Speaker. This is what we are talking about. Our creatives, our country's brand, Mr. Speaker. They are our brand ambassadors, Mr. Speaker, to the world, whether we acknowledge them or not, Mr. Speaker. And I think we can harness a good name for this country just like we have harnessed and made a name out of the athletes, Mr. Speaker. These creatives...
Senator Chute, what is your point of order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 41. We don't have a quorum.
No.
And these proceedings should not continue. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
You are a sadist, honestly.
Clerk, do we have quorum? Sergeant at Arms, ring the bell for 10 minutes. Honorable Senators, it seems we do not have quorum. Honorable Senators, having failed to attain, my apologies. Senator Peris Tobiko, you will have a balance of 15 minutes when this bill resumes in the next debate. Honorable Senators, having failed to attain quorum at the expiry of 10 minutes, the Senate stands adjourned pursuant to Standing Order 41-2A until Tuesday, 20th May 2025 at 2:30 p.m.